Boxer, a supporter of Clinton, came back, fired back, basically at your campaign today at you, saying, of course, Hillary Clinton is progressive, and asked, that Bernie said that Bernie Sanders is a Democrat on some days. You had said that Hillary Clinton is a progressive on some days. Is that fair? Because there are some Democrats who, I mean, in your heart, are you a Democrat?
Sure. I have made a decision to run for the Democratic nomination to be president of the United States. I was for 16 years in the House Democratic Caucus, for 9 years in the Senate Democratic Caucus. Right now, I am the ranking member of the Budget Committee appointed by the Democratic leadership and membership. A couple of years ago, I was very proudly the chairman of the Senate Veterans Committee. So, of course, I am a Democrat and running for the Democratic nomination. In terms of Secretary Clinton, and I know the media is kind of making a big deal about this, all that I said, which is simply true, is I think it was in November in Ohio. You may recall this.
Yes.
I don't know the context of it, but Secretary Clinton said, some people call me I'm paraphrasing, some people call me a moderate, and I proudly, say that I am a moderate. That's what she said. So when all I said, you can't go and say you're a moderate on one day and be a progressive on the other day. Some of my best friends are moderates. I love moderates, but you can't be a moderate and a progressive. They are different.
We'll talk a little bit more about that, but I want to go to our audience. Our first guest, Chris Brownell. He's an office administrator in Nashua. He says he's leaning towards supporting you, but he's got some questions about your tax policies.
Sure.
Senator Sanders, the first thing I hear about you is that you're going to raise taxes on the middle class. I support my family on a salary of $41,000 a year. I'm wondering, if you raise my taxes, how does that help me?
Good. Can I stand up?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay. Chris, thanks very much for that good question. This is what we are going to do. The United States is the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people. And we end up spending far, far more per capita on health care, as do the people of any other country, Canada, UK, France, whatever. What we are going to fight for is a Medicare for all single-payer program, which would provide comprehensive health care to your family and every family in America. So let me tell you what we do. We raise your taxes if you're somewhere in the middle of the economy, about $500. But you know what we're going to do for health care? We're going to reduce your health care costs by $5,000. You're going to pay a little bit more in taxes, but you're no longer going to have to pay private health insurance premiums. Now, I've been criticized for this, but I believe that health care is a right of all people, that we should not have these deductibles and co-payments. We should not be paying the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. And our Medicare for All program will guarantee comprehensive care to all people and save middle-class families some thousands of dollars a year.
Chris, let me just ask you, does that math work for you?
I mean, if it saves me on health insurance premiums, I will gladly pay more taxes.
See, and Chris, what happens in politics, I don't want to shock anybody in the office, sometimes people distort things. And I've had 30-second ads run against me years ago. Bernie is going to raise your taxes. But they forget to say, we're going to do away with your private health insurance premiums. Bottom line here is, we spend almost 3 times more per person than the British, 50% more than the French. We can save substantial sums of money, and my Medicare for All system is funded in a very progressive way. Yes, you'll pay a little bit more, but your health premiums will disappear.
That's assuming you can get that through, though.
Well, that's true. But all of what I am trying to do assumes something. When I talk about making public colleges and universities tuition-free, and doing that and paying for that through a tax on Wall Street speculation, when I talk about rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure, which, as you know, is in disrepair all over this country, and talk about doing away with huge loopholes that major corporations now enjoy, so that in a given year you have these large corporations making billions, not paying a nickel in taxes because they're putting their money in the Cayman Islands. Now, how do we get these things through? What this campaign is about is not just electing a president. It is creating a political revolution where millions of people, many of whom have not been involved in the political process, stand up and demand a government which represents all of us, not just wealthy campaign contributors. That's how we make change.
Let me ask you. when you use the term revolution, makes some people nervous. What's wrong with evolution?
Well, I think when we had, remember the Reagan Revolution and the Gingrich Revolution? Well, my revolution's a little bit different. But it is a process. Look, let's be clear. We have one of the lowest voter turnouts of any major country on earth. In the last election where Republicans won a huge victory, 63% of the American people didn't vote, 80% of young people didn't vote. Now, when people don't vote, there's a political vacuum that's created, and I will tell you how it's filled. It's filled by lobbyists and campaign contributors who could care less about the middle class, who are there to protect the wealthiest people in this country. So what we are trying to do, and I would tell you, Anderson, with some success, is bring working people and young people and lower income people into the political process. And when that happens, you know what? We will raise the minimum wage. We will have health care for all people. We will make public colleges and universities tuition free.
I want you to meet Jason Tulerski. He's an IT management. He says you are his dream candidate, but he does have some.
Buts always make me nervous. All right, Jason, fire away.
So you are my dream candidate in a lot of ways. The message of your campaign really speaks to me, and on some issues, I feel that you actually speak for me. But I also know that most people don't have the same class-based view of the world that I do, and I think you do as well. I've seen all of your debates, and I just don't see you connecting with people that view the world through a religious or a racial lens. People that see those as the powerful forces in our society. I'm wondering what you can do to better engage with the broader electorate to understand their points of view, demonstrate that you can be an effective leader for them.
Very good question, and thank you for it. We are reaching out as strongly as we can, for example, to the African American community and to the Latino community. And I think we are gaining more and more support in those communities for a couple of reasons. Number one, within the African American community, it's not only an economic issue, raising the minimum wage and providing jobs. Youth unemployment for African American kids now is 51%. So those are important issues, but I'll tell you what else is an important issue, and that is the criminal justice issue. The fact that we have more people in jail in America than any other country, disproportionately African American and Latino. The fact that blacks and whites do marijuana at about an equal level, and yet 4 times more blacks get arrested. The fact that blacks are more likely to be stopped by police in a vehicle and get arrested than whites. Those are huge issues. And what I have said and repeat to a virtually all white state, but I'll say this all over the country, there will be no president who will fight harder to end institutional racism than I will. And we have got to reform a very, very broken criminal justice system. It breaks my heart, and I know that it breaks the hearts of millions of people in this country to see videos on television of unarmed people, often African Americans, shot by police. That has got to end, and these are issues that I take very seriously, Jason.
I want to follow up because Jason also mentioned faith, which is something you've spoken a little bit about. You're Jewish, but you've said that you're not actively involved with organized religion. What do you say to a voter out there who says who sees faith as a guiding principle in their lives and wants it to be a guiding principle for this country?
It is a guiding principle in my life. Absolutely, it is. Everybody practices religion in a different way. To me, I would not be here tonight. I would not be running for president of the United States if I did not have very strong religious and spiritual feelings. I believe that as a human being, the pain that one person feels, if we have children who are hungry in America, if we have elderly people who can't afford their prescription drugs, you know what? That impacts you, that impacts me. And I worry very much about a society where some people spiritually say, it doesn't matter to me, I got it, I don't care about other people. So my spirituality is that we are all in this together, and that when children go hungry, when veterans sleep out on the street, it impacts me. That's my very strong spiritual feeling.